come to the bold analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a plan as a nation that at the end of William Ruto's term, he's saying that he's not going to sink this country into more debts. But from the latest political events of this country, I want to take you through a conflict in our foreign policy, incoherency, why Ruto's government under Kenya Kwanza is likely to take us into more debts. And significantly, this is key because this election of William Ruto's and versus Raila Odinga in the 2022 was premised on economy. And the issue of the debt is at the center of our problems. Now, I listened to him saying that, using about the local market, that I want to export the local market. But there seems to be something happening that we are not really well placed. Alfred Mutua, while speaking to journalists in Egypt, was asked one question: are we going to the east or west? And his response was very clear that we are a leaning nation. We have friends from both. Opiyo Wandayi is saying that are we just opportunists who are taking opportunity that is available, or our foreign policy is not well defined? I want to explain to you something. Did you know that for the 2 months that we've had Kenya Kwanza, we've had many delegations, meetings with different offices, both Gachagua, Mudavadi, and the State House, meeting with the representatives from the West, that is UK and the US. Remember, just 2 days after swearing in, the president was in UK, then also flew to the US. And even that meeting, he met Joe Biden. So, we are not yet somewhere. And I want to tell you that we have coherency. What has become of us is people who are just taking anything. An MP from Ghana is saying, and is telling Africa, and is telling Kenya, that what is in the deal? The tragedy here is that some of these deals were actually supposed to help us improve our democracy, but they are devoid of democratic and election reforms. You will understand in this. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also like our video. I want to say thank you for those who've been supporting me in some special way. Of course, some people around me knew that I was not feeling well, but of course, I'm now a little bit strong. And thank you for those who are supporting. Let me pin my number there. It's up there. Yeah, for any support, I will really appreciate. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make this analysis very concrete, and we need to dig deeper. When Mwai Kibaki came into power, there was a policy, Look East policy. And that Look East policy is what Mwai Kibaki successfully did to set our foundation for infrastructure takeoff. That is what we actually did. And it was strengthened by Uhuru Kenyatta. That's why you saw Standard Gauge Railway there. If you look at Uhuru Kenyatta legacy, and I can challenge you that just leave the political emotions, and what politicians telling you now, and go through Uhuru Kenyatta legacy, you will realize that Uhuru was pro-East. He actually said that the East were offering solutions that were answering questions that Kenya needed to answer. And one of those questions was the infrastructure. But then, William Ruto has turned to the West. Let me tell you, when there was the Look East policy, it became with one challenge, that China was never after democratic processes in Africa. But when you go west, they were giving, but with conditions that they need, they really need to see how things change. That's why you see IMF loans have come with a lot of conditions. Huh? Now we are going for World Bank. IMF loans have a lot of conditions. Parastatals must make profit. We must also mitigate corruption and lay public documents and all that. But we've gone to the east, and we seems to be losing the track because, and that's where the inconsistency is. There is a 500 billion deal by UK that was signed in Egypt in the sidelines of the climate conference that was going on there. Part of it I've now seen being leaked. What has been leaked is it includes construction of dams. I think a dam in construction of a dam in Kitui and some areas of Kambani. So, and there is also 5 billion for construction some railway. I think it's within the Nairobi CBD. Yes. And we've had one thing, that we've gone there, we've acquired the loans, we've acquired the deals, and they've been called deals. The question is, are they loans? Because if China was constructing for us SGR at 465 and it was a loan to be repaid, so are you telling us that UK gave us and we're not going to pay it back? The big problem we've gotten ourselves into is our debt diplomacy with the East is becoming a problem. Debt diplomacy is where you negotiate on friendly terms. We have gone rogue to an extent of releasing what will be a highly guarded secret document on our deals with China. Well, we have a 500 billion deal with UK and some deals with US. They're not being made public. IMF is saying make sure everything is public. Why aren't we showing the one from UK public? But everything we've gone berserk. And that is why I am saying that incoherency in our foreign policy is what is going to cost us the debts. And before William Ruto knows, the government will sink in a lot of debts. Take this to bank because of our blunders. And this is it. The tragedy here and the big problem here is also that it seems Europe is no longer advancing the democratic processes in the country. I'm one person that is saying this, that in the last general election, there was there is this narrative that we adopted that US and UK favored William Ruto. I don't think that was it. What happened here was that they came out and seized the opportunity. They realized there was a problem. If they were advancing our democracy, then the truth of the matter here is they would have acknowledged that there was a problem. They would have had the voices of 6.9 million Kenyans who felt like the presence of Jose Camagos and the foreign interference by the Venezuelans was a problem. But remember, to date, no one ever acknowledged that we had a problem here in our election. So they have downed their tool on advancement of democratic processes and election reforms back in the country. Now, no one talked about it. Remember in 2017, 2018, there was a narrative that handshake was backed by the US. And that was in an acknowledgement that there was a problem. This time round, we had a problem, but they downed their tools, and now we've captured them, signing the billion deals, but no tag of our democracy. Let me tell you, and now this is what will befell. And that's why I say that, of course, Duncan, is saying, a university lecturer from USA is saying, that Kenya choosing to strengthen its ties with the US is for geo-interests, geopolitics, and geostrategy, but China still remains a partner. But we're pushing China to the periphery. Now, while Raila was in Egypt, there are reports that he actually met with very policy specialists, and most of them, which are from the East. Of course, you did not see China there, but quite a number from their end, and also the German and other countries. So this is the chance that Raila have. That Raila must then work with the devolved, friendly devolved units to stick and offer, get solutions from the East. It's allowed. It's time for the governors, Kisumu, Siaya, Bay, Mombasa, those who also feel that because the national government is heading much into the West, that the county governments can stick to the East and take off development in your respective counties. Now, that is the stake. That is what Raila have. And it will be having great reforms, because I was just reading that there is a breakaway from the West, breakaway within the West, where you see them taking different positions on even the Ukraine war. You see US, and so the bit of those divisions. And the lie here is that William Ruto knows that these people are his friends. They will use, most likely what is going to happen is democratic reforms in this country are going to shrink. And it will take upon the Kenyan people. If some elements of the West decide that, look here, we can advance, and of course we can check the government, because what checks government of the day is democratic processes. That's what will check government. A referendum, pushing constitutional review, all that. We will really be in a position to make sure that we advance our democracy as the people of Kenya. But not because what our foreign policy have actually put us close to people. The people that then are supporting William Ruto are not the kind of people that are advancing democracy. And Ruto is digging into a deeper hole, especially in terms of our debts. We are making all the political blunders when going publicly and distancing with our previous debts. This is just like, and in my peer analysis, I think it came out very clear. Someone was saying, you have a debt for China, and you're telling China, and it's many, and debt are inherited. You're telling China that we will build this you construct yours. We want you to negotiate with you so that we pay you after 100 years. But even after saying you're paying you after 100 years, you are still not going to borrow from them. You're telling them that now, Mimi, yours I'm negotiating to pay in the next 100 years, but I'm going to borrow from the neighbor. What is most likely going to happen is, Mimi, I will even shoot my interest, or I will push further, not negotiate with you in terms of restructure. And furthermore, the other debt you went for, which I can tell you that just like World Bank and IMF, those loans, these bilateral deals are also just loans and grants and aids. Not going to give you 500 billion without, it's a give and take. So what we are most likely going to see is that the West take over. But that takeover comes at a cost, because we have a disgruntled creditor that feels like you have my debt and don't want to hear about me. At the end of 5 or 10 year tenure of William Ruto, we shall have not paid all of them. By the way, even because the debt's taking 20 years, even if Ruto is to serve for 10 years, bado hatakutumaliza, and our debt management is going to be a problem. You never know, maybe at one point we also get disgruntled. Maybe the West changes their policy, or they also, and the truth, no one will ever tell you this. Even the debts from the West have higher interests. Hiyo ndio ukweli. That is my bold analysis, guys, and let's meet in the next. What do you think? Are you believing that with us sitting in the katikati, being opportunistic because we have someone who is willing to pay us, we have someone who is willing to give us new loans because China cannot give us so many because we've really loaned from them, so we are going to the other person. Do you think that's going to solve our problem? Especially the issue of the debt, because it touches on the economy.